Hi, welcome to my online comedy workshop promo video, uh, Comedy Chops, Perfecting Your Comedy Voice. In this 90-minute online workshop, we'll, of course, cover all the basics, what I call the math or the mathematics of comedy. And there are a lot of little things that I notice a lot of comedians and a lot of my students are just not doing or doing incorrectly, and little adjustments can make huge differences. Um, and there are a lot of really good comedy teachers out there. The difference with me, I think, is twofold. One is that I have written and sold jokes to some of the most famous comedians in the world, and my jokes are still being done by comedians on the circuit and in theaters and some on television today. So I know how to write a good joke. I also reviewed live comedy for a major publication for 8 years. And in doing so, I got to dissect what comedy was and all the different flavors and tastes and way of cooking it and really got into it as a connoisseur. And then when I lived in England for 20 years and was a comedian there, I learned a whole other world of comedy and then came back and compared the two, and I came up with some really great insights. What makes my workshop different than I think any other out there is simply this: being a screenwriter and a filmmaker, as well as a film producer, but that's kind of irrelevant. But being a screenwriter, um, I really understand what character and heroism is. And what I mean by that, as to apply it to comedy, is that to me, a really great comedian is someone who gets on stage, whether they're known or not known, and the audience immediately identifies with them or identifies them. And so the burden is on the comedian to come off really clear of who they are in life. The second part is for the comedian to talk about their dilemma in life. Now, it usually falls into one of two categories. If it's introspective Woody Allen type of stand-up comedy, it's going to be about themselves and perhaps even their dealings with God. But it doesn't involve dealing with society and people at work or lovers or family or whatever. Um, so the audience wants to know two things: who are you, and what is your dilemma? What are you going to talk about? What's the theme of what you're going to do? The audience wants to hear that, so that by the end of your set, usually about 80% done, you've become a hero in their eyes. You've overcome the second act crisis, which is a screenwriting term, and you've left them with something of hope. See, the audience doesn't just want to laugh and forget. They're going to walk away and they're going to feel the feelings that come to them after they see the show. And if you leave them, if you present a heroic figure, heroic in the sense of being honest with yourself and about the world and being as honest as you can be with the audience, and you present great jokes, and the jokes have new insights and even solutions to real life, they're going to love you. And so I look at it as a short film that you direct and write and star in. And there are so many skills you have to be aware of, not the least of which is that you have to monitor the audience. Either they laugh or they're silent. And you have to monitor yourself. Are you doing enough time? Are you going overtime? Are you rushing through your jokes? Are you doing all the material you brought to the stage? But the third part's the hardest part, and I think it's the most important part, which is to have a perspective that monitors out of body almost. You're monitoring yourself and the audience at the same time, because then that's the place where you're going to find great performance and great joy in doing comedy. I see the best comics doing this all the time. So anyway, that's sort of a brief on what I'm going to do. Just to get down into the weeds on it, we'll analyze your individual comedy tapes, whether they're done in class or privately. If you don't want to share with the rest, which is understandable, I'll give you direct feedback. All comedy material that I help you create or I create for you belongs to you. Uh, you can follow up privately with phone calls, texts, emails, Facebook Messenger. I'll answer your questions. You got a gig that night, you got a new idea, you're not sure how to do it, run it by me. I'm there for you, you know, to a degree. But anyway, I want you to sign up to this workshop. Everything should be explained. Thanks very much for your time, and I hope to see you there. Keep laughing.